What's going on, everybody? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel. 3-game Wnba slate on Saturday. 10K to first. I'm going to apologize in advance. My sickness has come back in full force. I may have to take some breaks to get a drink or sneeze or cough or something, but I wanted to get this video out. We got a couple afternoon games and one night game tomorrow night. Solid slate. A lot of news that we're still waiting on. I will be live 30 minutes before lock. So 1:30 Central Time. If anybody wants to come in and ask some questions or has a lineup question, wants my opinion on it. But let's look at my lineup for tonight. I did enter the 150 max. I got a couple pretty live bullets in there, but my main lineup, I did play Nia Coffee, however you say her name. She was 61% in the Queen of the Court qualifier. She was just terrible. 4 fantasy points. Just abysmal. So she's been absolutely unbearably bad. Prime James Harden, absolutely unbearably bad in her last 3 games. But this time she actually stayed out and played meaningful minutes. They didn't just insta-hook her. I did mention in the live stream after we heard that Cheyenne Parker was starting that while I did like her because she was starting, I was worried about her minutes. And she played 0 second half minutes. There's something going on there. That coach is terrible. But there's something going on there behind the scenes. She needs to be traded. I mean, she's a free agent after this year, so they probably won't trade her. Her contract's kind of hard to trade, but Atlanta's just a brutal team to try and figure out. Their rotations are so weird. Last game, Naz Hillman, 11 minutes. Kubaj played over her in the second half. Now Naz plays 20-something minutes. Aerial Powers barely sees 20 minutes. Just makes no sense. Alicia Gray and Powers really struggled shooting the ball. Just a weird team. A lot of busts in this game. I was high on Haley Jones. She didn't fit this build, but she absolutely smashed. She will 100% be in the optimal tonight, but not ideal for the main lineup. But still got some bullets in the 150 max. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to make some money. Let's look at the odds for these 3 games, then we'll go team by team and break it down. Sparks at Liberty, 15-point spread, over under 167. Wings Mystics, 2-point spread, over under 160.5. Mercury at the Lynx, 5.5-point spread, over under 162.5. So, this first game, Dallas and Washington. There's a lot of news on the Washington side. Dallas is starting to get healthy a little bit. We did have the just out of nowhere news. I wasn't expecting Enrique to play. Then she's playing and she's starting. And then after the slate locks, Natasha Howard is dressed and like available to play and plays like 20 minutes off the bench. Like comes in, not on a minutes limit, comes in and plays extremely well. Like just no mention of this. Like nothing. Just after the slate had already locked, so she wasn't owned. But just weird. Enrique, 10.6K, always has big upside. I mean, she's just going to take a ton of shots. She's going to play a ton. She's practically going to play the entire game. She does look like she's not getting around as good as she should, which kind of concerns me. I know their record is bad, but I really don't think she needs to be pushing herself if she's really hurt because, I mean, she's their franchise player, and they're not winning these games. And if she's active, she's going to play just huge minutes. Just that is slightly concerning. Big T has been so bad these past 2 games, 28 and 26 minutes. She actually got benched in this game against Chicago when her backup wasn't even available. Like they didn't even have another big to play. They just gave up on her. She just wasn't playing well. This is the floor that she has. She can just get pulled because she's not giving any effort. But we know the ceiling is 40, like mid 40s. So If you think she's going to have a ceiling game, good luck. It's really hard to predict, and her floor is very low. Mo Billings, with Natasha Howard back, the price is just too steep. Not much interest for me at 8,700. Now, Natasha Howard at 7,500, assuming she's going to play, and there's no minutes limit, which she's already been listed as probable to play, there's no minutes limit because she played 20 minutes against Chicago when she was considered doubtful to play. So love her at 7,500. I would expect her to play mid to high 20s minutes, but if she's fully healthy, I mean, she could play like high 30s because they need her. They need her to win. Like, they need wins in a bad way. She's a great fantasy point per minute player, so would love her at her price, assuming we don't get word that there is a minutes limit. Uzan is fine. She's going to play low 30s minutes, assuming she doesn't play badly and get benched, but she's been good these past 2 games. Stuff in the stat sheet. She can hit some threes. She's fine at her price. Kalani Brown is back. If you think Big T blows chunks again, you can play her. She would get extended in that scenario. JC Sheldon, once again, 4,100, just insta play, in my opinion. Even if she comes off the bench, the minutes have just been super, super good for her. With Natasha Howard back, they may go Mo at the 3 and Natasha Howard at the 4, or they may bring Mo off the bench. There's a few different things they can do, but I would imagine Sheldon still gets at least low to mid 20s minutes, and at her price, it's really hard to ignore. No interest in Birch, Lou, or Suarez with Nat back. That just takes a lot of usage, and there's just not enough minutes to go around now with the extra bodies available. On the Washington side, a lot of news we are still waiting on. Ariel Atkins, 9,400. She should have the whole team to herself. Took 17 shots last time out, played 35 minutes against the Fever, 34 fantasy points. Really, really scoring dependent day. She can pitch in the peripheral stats and get some stocks. Don't mind her as a tournament upside play, especially if Aaliyah Edwards is out, which she is listed as questionable, and she did not practice today. So she played limited minutes against Indiana because of the injury. So that's something we definitely need to monitor, because not only is she questionable, Maisha Hines-Allen is questionable, and she was a limited participant in practice today. So if both of them are out, they are extremely thin at bigs. They would legitimately only have Inksler and Dolson as their only 2 bigs on the roster. So both of them would play, and Inksler would arguably be one of, if not the best play on the slate. She saw 17 minutes last time out. She played the majority of the minutes that were given away by Aaliyah Edwards. Put up 19 fantasy points. She's a good fantasy point per minute player. She would be an insta-lock play, in my opinion. Dolson would look good at 7,300. She would need to play right around this 31-minute range. She put up 31 fantasy points. She would look great at her price. It all hinges on if one or both of them are out. Van Loo, 6,800, is fine. I mean, it's a fine price. The matchup is good. You can take shots on her in tournaments. Carly Samuelson, shot 6 of 9, 3 of 6 from 3, 16 real-life points. Pitched in on the peripherals, put up a 30 bomb. If you think she hits her threes, she's a fine tournament play. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough is fine. She's going to play high teens, low 20s minutes. Not a very good fantasy point per minute player, but can shoot it, so she can get hot every now and then. Melbourne is going to see a couple rotations. Decent fantasy point per minute player, but don't think she's going to be needed on a slate like this. Didi, same thing. She's just not going to be needed on a slate like this. Second game of the day, Sparks at the Liberty. On the Sparks side, Derek Hamby, 11K. 3 low output games. 27, 17, and 22. She's going to come in extremely low owned just off of recency bias. She's just not been as aggressive on the offensive end. The rebounds were there this past game like they haven't been the past couple before that. Don't mind her as a contrarian spend up, but it's just really hard to prioritize her over the bigs for Seattle, or the bigs for New York, or like Fee or Arike, and you're going to be able to play multiple with all the value available. Aerie 7600 is fine. She's going to play high 20s, low 30s minutes. She can shoot it, and she's going to get you some peripheral stats. Don't mind her in the mid-range. Rakia Jackson 7100. I tried telling people 21 minutes, 7 fantasy points, 3 of 6 shooting. There's going to be games. She's a rookie. She's going to have growing pains. If she does not score, she has this low of a floor. Like, she does not get peripheral stats on the regular. Like, every now and then she'll get 13 or 9, and then she'll get 2 or 1. Like, she's just super hard to trust, so it makes her a contrarian tournament play. Due to her price, I probably won't have much interest at all on her tomorrow. Uru 5500 saw 17 minutes, was in massive foul trouble practically the entire game. Busted hard. She was not as high owned as I thought she would be. Only 10 fantasy points. I'm expecting a better game from her, assuming she can stay out of foul trouble. 5,500 is a good price for her. Clarendon 4,200. If you want to chase where she paid it off, be my guest. Not for me. Lexi Brown is out, so that does open minutes up for, that opens around 20 minutes up for a guard. She only saw 7 minutes against New York, though. So, really, I mean, when you look at what Zia Cook did in 17 minutes, she soaked up pretty much all of those minutes. Zia Cook is another one, like Rakia Jackson. She is very scoring dependent. If she does not score the ball well, I'm not sure the minutes will be there for her. I imagine she's going to be the prime beneficiary of Lexi Brown being out. But like I said, if she does not shoot the ball well, her floor is very, very low because she's not very good at getting the peripheral stats. But at the flat men, she's firmly in play. Kia Nurse, not someone I'm ever advocating playing. I only saw 14 minutes last time out. Talbot is another great value play. She benefited from Uru having foul trouble. Saw 31 minutes, 24 fantasy points. I'm not expecting her to play that many minutes again. I think low 20s is what the meter should be set at. But a decent play at 3,700. You can't ask for much more than that. Burrell saw 22 minutes. If you think the minutes are going to be there for her, she can shoot it, and she will get some peripheral stats. So don't mind her as a cheap play. There are a ton of cheap value plays on this slate. That is where lineups you're going to have to get different. There's just so many to choose from. Nailing the right ones will be key. On the New York side, Stewie 11-3, shot 6 of 13, played 35 minutes. Just not the Stewie that like I was expecting. 37 fantasy points, 10 peripheral stats, 4 stocks. I mean, she's having good games, but this is the reigning MVP. I'm expecting these like 50s and like consistent 40s, and she's just been really up and down. She's been really passive on the offensive end, allowing Sabrina to take a lot of shots, John Quell to feast, which, I mean, she continues her just insane pace. 50, 48, 47, 41, and 46 in her last 5. I always say if she takes double-digit shot attempts, she's probably going to smash just because she is such an efficient shooter of the ball that when she takes a lot of shots, it usually means she is absolutely nuking. And what's been really impressive for her is she's been getting a lot of assists here lately. You look at the last 2 games, she has 15 assists. So the peripheral upside is just huge with her. She did foul out of the game against the Sparks last time. So there is some foul concerns with JJ. There always is. But she's done a really good job of staying out of foul trouble for the most part. Obviously, one of the best spin ups on the slate. Sabrina, 9,800, would absolutely love her, assuming Sloot is out or we get word that she may come off the bench or be limited. We already know that she is going to be, if she does play, she is questionable for conditioning. Mentioned conditioning for game speed or something. So if she is out, I would love Sabrina at 9,800. If Sloot is in, it would be a slight downtick to Sabrina. 9,800 is still a really good price for her. I went for 52 fantasy points, 31 real life points, 11 peripheral stats. Don't mind her. She's been taking a lot of shots lately. She's been shooting the three ball a ton. So obviously big upside in tournaments. Benajelani is officially questionable. If she is in, I don't mind her. But if her and Sloot are both in, it would be a down tick to Laney. Just her usage would go down. Just her peripheral stats would go down. If Sloot and Laney are out, would absolutely love going right back to Febich, who played 25 minutes, shot 1 of 7, and put up 25 fantasy points. She put up a fantasy point per minute and shot 1 of 7. So would absolutely love her, assuming Laney and Sloot are out and Febich starts again. Thornton, just not been any good. I mean, she played 28 minutes, only 11 fantasy points. Really hard to trust. I can't go there personally. And if Laney and Sloot are in and Thornton's coming off the bench, I would have zero interest. Kind of the same with Febich. If Laney and Sloot are in, it's really hard to prioritize playing Febich over like the Sparks value or the Washington value or even the Dallas value. Dojic would be completely out of play if Sloot and Laney are in. If they're not, she's in play for value at 3,300. She saw 25 minutes, put up 19 fantasy points. There's just an endless supply of value on this slate that it's going to make for a fun slate. Burke and Davis, not really either for me. I mean, Burke played 10 minutes, didn't do anything. Davis, 5 minutes, didn't really do anything either. Last game of the night, Phoenix at Minnesota. On the Phoenix side, BG, 10.1K. Going to play low 30s minutes, really efficient shooting the ball. Obviously, you hope that she's going to grab some boards. She always has some stock upside. Big upside, but relatively low floor. I mean, 30 fantasy points for someone of her stature and ability is not the best, but I do like the spot for her here. It's a tough matchup, so I think she'll be a way to get different from the field because I don't think a lot of people are going to click on her coming off a bad game. Clea Copper, the usage went down last game. She was a little hot to start the game. She got a quick technical, picked up a couple quick fouls, lost out on a couple early minutes that kind of killed her groove. She obviously has big upside, assuming she's hitting her shots. Her usage, they love letting her shoot it, so don't mind her. Natasha Cloud, 8,500. She's just not doing enough on the offensive end to prioritize her at 8,500. She's going to get you some peripheral stats, but just doesn't offer the offensive upside to really win a GPP, in my opinion. DT, it looks like she's found the fountain of youth. She's loving having BG back out there, setting those big high screens for her to get wide open looks at threes. She's reminding people just how good of a three-point shooter she is, why she's one of the GOATs. Going to play low 30s minutes. Big scoring upside. She's been getting some peripheral stats of late. Now, granted, there are games where she's going to not give you very much in the peripheral category, like this 5. But if she hits 20, or like let's say she scores 20 real life points and she gets you 8 peripheral stats, you're going to get 35 points out of her with the potential for her to really pop and get 40. So I love her for tournaments. She is somewhat scoring dependent because the peripheral stats are never reliable, but I really like her for tournaments. She's shooting the ball really well right now. Sophie, 6,200, is fine. I mean, she shot really well, so she paid off her salary this last time out. It is what it is. Not someone I'm prioritizing just with all the value. I think tomorrow is going to be purely a Stars and Scrubs build, but You can play her. Her minutes are secure. Zero interest in Natasha Mack. She's just not playing any minutes besides the ones that BG sit for. Rebecca Allen saw 33 minutes, shot 6 of 8 from the field, had a really great game. This is the ceiling game for Rebecca Allen. This is what she's good at. When she's rolling, she's hitting threes. She's grabbing some boards. She's getting in transition. She's not done a great job of it for the entirety of the season, but she's had 2 games where she's really popped and hit a lot of transition threes. I don't mind her at 5,500, although I don't think she's necessarily needed on this slate. Sug Sutton is out. I would imagine they may dust off like Osborne, who hasn't played yet for them. If they do, she's going to play very, very limited minutes. They could just play Sophie a little bit more. Dixon and Harrigan are not going to play, so don't play them. On the Minnesota side, Fee, 11-8. You know what you're getting out of her. She only saw 30 minutes last time out, 6 of 17 shooting. She's going to pitch in on the peripherals. She's going to score a decent amount. I don't mind her as a spend up. Always lower owned than she probably should be. Kayla McBride, 9,500. Shot 3 of 10. Like I always mention with her, she is pretty score independent, but if the shot is falling, watch out because she can go crazy. Just know this is her floor. 10 fantasy points, 15 fantasy points. It's very risky playing her. The matchup is great, though. Lana Smith, 9K, does have some foul concerns going up against BG, but don't mind her. She's been playing consistent minutes around high 20s, low 30s. Been really consistent besides this last game where she did not play very well. Courtney Williams, 8,300, like the price. Assuming she's going to get decent run, maybe 26 to 30 minutes. She typically will stuff the stat sheet, and it always depends if she scores the ball. That's where she's going to make her hay and really pop in DFS. I'm not paying 7,200 for Natisha Heidemann. If you want to, be my guest. Same thing with Dorka. I'm not paying 7K. She played 23 minutes. We might be seeing a changing of the guard. Her and Alana Smith might really start splitting the 5. If that's the case, obviously Alana Smith would be really hard to trust. But for me, I need to see it for more than just one game. I mean, she played 25 minutes here because they were short on, like, Carrollton didn't play. They needed another big. But I want to see her minutes in normal run over a period of time before I buy into paying 7K for her, especially on a slate like this. Carrollton, 6,700. Score independent. She did grab 8 boards this last game. That's kind of an outlier. But I don't think she's needed on a slate like this. Long shot tournament play, though, is fine. I have no interest in anyone down here. Afufa's minutes are just not secure. They're up and down. Zandalasini is a bunch of the same. Yes, she played 13 and 14 the past 2. This was because Carrollton was out. She did not even play well and played 14 here. You just never know who's going to get extended off the bench, and there's just far better value plays everywhere on this slate. But that's going to do it for me, guys. If you enjoy the content, leave a like. Helps out the channel. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500. I would love to get there by my birthday in middle of July. Would be awesome. That is the one and only birthday present that I want. But good luck to everybody, and we'll see you for the live stream tomorrow.